What's going on YouTube? Q back here again with another video for you. In today's video, I'm going to teach you how to save some money. So what I did saved me thousands of dollars. So what I'm going to be talking about today, when you're buying a used car, buying this can save you a ton of money. And that thing is a pre-purchase inspection. So buying new, you generally don't have to worry about that because cars come with warranties and certified pre-owned. But just buying a used car, especially from a private party, you definitely want to get a pre-purchase inspection. And I'm about to go through that today. So I had one instance where I didn't buy one and it ended up costing me several thousands, 7,000 to be exact. And I got a couple other examples where it did save me money. So it's a good thing to have and they don't cost that much. So I'm going to jump into that in just a sec. But before I do, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, browse the channel. Let's jump into it. So pre-purchase inspection is kind of self-explanatory with the name. Pre meaning before purchase, before you buy something. Inspection, getting the car inspected, obviously. So what it does is it's a rundown on the car of all the exterior, interior, mechanicals, all the kinds of systems in there. And you can get them through a plethora of different places, or you can go to a dealership. So I had a lease at one point in time. Somebody from California was taking over my lease a few years ago. And they hired it's not an OEM, but it was just a private company that did inspections. And they did a decent job of inspecting. It was a lease. I thought it was in perfect condition, but they marked it at like a B-. Only thing wrong with the car, it was like 2 years into a lease. I think it had like a scratch on the front, and mechanically it was fine, like no issues at all. He marked it a B-. I guess when you get one of those, people have to have something wrong with the car. You can't just buy a perfect car, so to say. So they marked it down, and when he came through, I drove the car for him, accelerated, stopped. He tested out the brakes, wrote down notes on the engine, noise, rattles. He came through with some kind of gun to tell if the paint, how thick the paint was on the car. So it was somewhat thorough, but he didn't do like he did a visual, just looked under the hood like, oh, this is fine, looked under the car. But I feel like to do a better, thorough analysis, you need to go somewhere that can get on the lift. Dude just met me in the parking lot like this. He actually met me in my job. So I'm working, come to my job like, oh, let's take a look at this car. So that was that. And they can range in price and how long it takes to do. So I think that inspection was like $150, $200. I also had another car, the one that I actually ended up buying, had a Fiesta ST. I got that. I had the owner go to a Ford dealership with me. So we met at an actual Ford dealership. And we did a pre-purchase inspection, and that was like $47, but they offered 2 levels of it. It was like a multi-point inspection, which gave you the basics like the brakes, the battery life, the transmission and all that, and tires. And then there was like a thorough inspection, which was $250, which was overkill for what I'm doing because the car is still under warranty. So what the inspection that they had, it was about 30 minutes or so. So they're just doing inspections, looking at the brakes, taking the tires off, rating those, looking at the coolant and the oil and stuff like that. And for that car, I was fine with the cheaper one. They also do like one that takes 3 hours, and that was like $150, $200. I didn't feel the need to do that because that was a newer car, so it was still under a warranty. I ended up transferring that warranty over to me because something was brought up on that inspection that needed to be repaired. So I transferred the warranty over and got it fixed. It had like some kind of clicking in the dash when you turn on the heat. So that was something that saved me. So that pre-purchase inspection, $40-something, transferred the warranty over another $75. And I got the whole dash taken out, which was a few hours worth of labor. So that took care of itself, so to say. But the one time where I didn't buy the pre-purchase inspection, I made a full video about this when I bought a 2013 Scion FRS. So this is one where I should have got one, but I was so excited to get this car. Test drove it. I know it's a little squeak in the suspension, but little did I know that would be the least of my worries at that point. So long story short, drove the car home, almost. The engine blew up on the way home. So that journey was 23 miles. The engine blew up, $7,000 down the drain. And that's something that they could have caught with a pre-purchase inspection, potentially, depending on where you go. So I personally prefer going to the dealerships, the OEM dealership where the car came from, for the pre-purchase inspection, because nobody knows the cars like a dealership would. So after I got the engine replaced on this car, because the Carfax wouldn't pull up everything that this car had, so going to an actual Toyota dealership, I found out that the car had timing chain issues and it was repaired. And I also believe that to be the issue of, I think the timing chain jumped, blew the engine up catastrophically, unfortunately. And the way that the dealership that I purchased from was a Buick dealership, the car that I'm talking about. They wrote it up as me double clutching, redlining, something I didn't do, but I don't want to go down that path again. Made a whole video on that. I can link it down below. But that pre-purchase inspection would have saved my keister on that one, boys. So definitely regret not doing it. But when you're buying these cars, do not make haste trying to get a car, because this cars come a dime a dozen. Not stuff like this, you can't get one of these easily, but like for a general mill, run of the mill car, general mill, I'm talking about cereal, I'm hungry, I ain't eat breakfast yet, but for a run of the mill car, just get the pre-purchase inspection. But another time where this one did save me, I was looking for a Acura TL SH all-wheel drive manual transmission, and this thing had higher mileage. So pre-purchase inspection definitely shines on those type of cars, like higher mileage. And you want to do your research before you buy cars. Like some cars generally have issues. The Scion that the engine blew up, it came out with a recall the month after I bought the car. So yeah, so you want to make sure I had another Acura TL where the spark plug shot out the engine block. So I fixed that with the helicoil, but it was a known issue. So you definitely want to know what issues can take place, like a Porsche IMS bearing. People say it's overblown, like the GT350, the oil consumption. People say it's overblown. I believe that those things are actually issues, because I had a GT350 and it happened to me, oil consumption. While I'm on the GT350, I did not buy a pre-purchase inspection for my GT350, and I bought that one used. It was low mileage, but I did have it inspected. So I had a friend who was buying all my cars from me. Shout out to Mac, he bought 3 of my cars from me. So I had him meet me when I was going to look at the car, because he was going to buy this car. And I had him do his thorough look through, because even on my cars, he was asking me questions like, hey, what's this screw? This bolt was turned, because I had a wrap, so a bolt was turned. And that generally denotes that somebody did some kind of structural body panel work. And I also looked at another ZL1 1LE. So these screws being replaced is a bad thing. And I don't know what the heck this is. And all of those screws were replaced, and that car was in a minor accident. More than just a little gap. The panel doesn't match up that well, according to Carfax. But then the owner actually commented on the video like, yeah, I had that car, it was messed up. So yeah, so I don't trust Carfax like that. It can be used just to see like, oh, did they get the oil changes? But like severe issues, the dealership tends to hold other information. And when I got the engine rebuilt on the FRS, I got that done at Napa. I don't even know if that showed up on the Carfax, because I replaced the engine with another engine of the same year that had the same recall. Took it back to Toyota to get it fixed. But I digress. Back to the Acura TL. So this posting, the owner's like, oh, fantastic interior, fantastic exterior. So I'm thinking like, man, this car is in great condition. And it generally was. So I don't know if the guy was lying or not. He seemed honest, but you never know. Talking to people online, you never know who's honest, who's really not. But he was like, brand new tires, immaculate condition, well taken care of. From the pictures, I can tell the interior was taken care of, but the car had like 170,000 miles, and the dude wanted like 9,400 for this car. I'm like, I'm aware it's an Acura, but the car has 170,000 miles. I'm like, come down on the price, dude. I would pay like $7 grand for that car. I just wanted it because of the all-wheel drive manual. But dude would not budge. I'm like, come on. So I was like, let me do this pre-purchase inspection. Dude was in Ohio, I'm in Michigan. So I paid him. I called the Acura dealership there, like, do you all do pre-purchase inspections? Not all dealerships will do a pre-purchase inspection, because when I got the GT350, I called a Ford dealership. The one that he bought it from, the dealership wouldn't do a pre-purchase inspection. but the Lincoln dealership that was nearby, they would. So not all dealerships want to be liable for a pre-purchase inspection, because if something happens, they're on the hook, because they go through a whole inspection sheet. And I'll post whatever examples I can find. The Acura dude was like immaculate condition. I'll drive it anywhere. So he takes it to the dealership, and I pay him to do it. And it was like, that one was $100, I believe, at the Acura dealership. So it took them an hour to go through. And he emails me the report. I get the report back. Tires are in terrible condition. And not only the tires, something even more devastating than that. They were like, the brakes were so bad they wouldn't even drive the car because the brake lines were just all out of whack, so it needed brake lines like immediately. So I'm like, dude, the description says this, and they're showing me like the brake line isn't good, it needed some more fluids, but the brakes and the tires and just simple stuff like that, like tires are easy to tell. Like, I know my car has brand new tires on the back, front tires might show some wear, but if you say you have new tires and their report is showing the red, like tires need replacements, along with the brakes, then it's kind of hard to trust the person that's saying that, because it's tires, dude. You replace them like once every, 15,000, 30,000 miles? I don't know. I don't keep my cars long enough to get tires. I ended up using that to beat the guy down on the price. I'm like, all right, man, I can't even drive the car home, so for you to be not get sued by somebody, like, now that we got this out in the air, even if you still drive the car, you need to get those brakes replaced. Like tires, if you replace the brakes, I can handle the tires, whatever. But dude only went down like $300. I'm like, come on, man, like that's unreasonable. And it did have a timing chain down, which is a big repair. It's over $1,000 on that. But I ended up walking away from that car just because it was overpaying for that car, and I was like, there is more out there. Never found one of those cars, unfortunately, but maybe another day, maybe not, who knows. But that could have saved me, because I could have lost my life buying that car, just looking at it. I don't know how to tell if the brake lines are good, because I know the basic stuff. So I'm not a mechanic. That's why I generally take my mechanic friends with me when I'm buying a car, because mechanically I'm not there to just inspect cars like that. I know how to read my OBD scanner, which I always take when I'm looking at cars, scan any codes, pull up any history. It's like $25 on Amazon and an app on the smartphone. So I got a link down in the description to all my videos. Check that out if you want to. Affiliate Lincoln, hit me up. But yeah, walked away from that car. Yeah, it just wasn't the car for me, so I just moved on. And I think at that moment, I ended up buying that Fiesta after that one. So I'm like, all right, this Acura isn't worth it. So there's more cars out there, Fiesta ST, and that was that. So potentially saved me my life and brake lines and tires, because I hate buying a car. I just want to buy a car and drive it and enjoy it. I don't want to buy a car and have to repair it. That defeats the purpose to me. But that's the story. Definitely do PPIs. Definitely on used cars. And sometimes dealerships won't let you take their car to another dealership to do one. If they're a dealership like that, just don't deal with them, because it's not a unreasonable thing to ask for. But if they say no, just walk away from it. I don't know if I would trust a dealership that I'm buying a car from to do that pre-purchase inspection, because they're invested in the car. So they can say whatever, but an honest dealership would do that at your own discretion. I would take it to the OEM manufacturer. So that's what I gotta say about that. Pre-purchase inspections, definitely do it when you're buying a used car. It can save you money, save your life. Not on new cars, they come with warranty, so you don't need to do all that. So I'm Q, checking out. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, browse the channel, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace out.